Welcome back to Corporate Time. We've got an email here that you said you wanted to read.
Yeah. I forgot about that. I was talking about all this other stuff, completely forgot about this email. This is from, we have like these frequent emailers that this particular guy, Clay, he'll email us in bursts, but they're all great emails. I've talked about this guy before.
Okay.
Like where it'll be like a Monday night, 8:30. I picture him finishing his dinner. You know, he's about to fire up maybe a baseball game or something. And he sits down and he fires off like 5 really good emails. So this is his first one. Dear Dan, Tom, and possible other guest, 'tis volleyball or beach volleyball season. I was just wondering which type of volleyball player you were or are. Were you one that played aggressively or someone that would just lay up the ball? Do you ever dive for the ball? When was the last time you've played volleyball? I miss pool volleyball sessions. Thank you. Clay. Clay, great email. I too think about volleyball a great deal, probably more than your average older man. I had great fun playing volleyball with Jonathan Taylor. I told you a story last week about Jeff Burney. Remember, I told you the guy made me cry on the Tyler Spohr made me cry on the golf course. We were also volleyball bros, and when we weren't surfing, if we go to the beach surfing, if the waves weren't good or if we were tired, we would break out a Walmart Karch Karai volleyball and start slinging some sand, mother effer.
Beach volleyball.
Beach volleyball,
okay,
which I was not particularly good at because I'm a microman. So I did a lot of setups, you know. I did a lot of bumps.
Yeah. You were the plug.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing, right? Doesn't that mean you got a big one? That's what I've heard in slang. Whenever you say that, I've heard people say, like, oh, that's a good thing to be.
Well,
there's fire plugs, and then there's the plug. I feel like in urban speak, the plug is I'm the plug.
Yeah. What you need to be longer to have a big one. The plug's got a small plug
but
too.
I think you're messing up you don't know your lingo.
Plug.
I don't think you know your lingo. I think you're thinking fire plug, which is a completely separate thing. Normally a term used for women.
So I do like a good pool volleyball. Beach volleyball is
real
tough.
volleyball.
Well, also, when's the last time you've, run in the sand?
It's been a minute.
Difficult.
Like the last time I was at Myrtle Beach, I ran with Maisie, and I was huffing and puffing down the beach. Oh, man.
Also hot. Super hot.
But we used to love it.
Yeah.
And you get a couple, you see
young
them up
people's
here.
Game, yeah.
You see them up here at Festival Park here in Orlando, and there'll be a bunch of naked butts out there playing volleyball. Why the naked butt? Why not just a bikini? Is it at that point they are so proud of their physique that it's like, or do they get more?
Or
is it able?
thong?
Yeah, are they able to dive better? Or are they able to reach a ball better because they have a floss in their crack? So it's a vanity thing.
Yeah. It's like
I'm not shaming anybody. You look great, but I'm just saying why? Because every time I drive by to get like Jeff's bagel run or something, with my daughter, she'll be like, this is inappropriate."
It's like the Shane Gillis joke about the volleyball shorts. He makes them joke like, you don't need to wear these tiny coochie cutter shorts.
Yeah.
And then you're doing that for attention and for the I guess the vanity of it,
you
or
don't
like
really talk
the
about
fashion
it anymore. Used to be used to be huge. I feel like during the pandemic, you really blossomed into a bit of a tiny shorts man, and I don't really hear you talk about it very much anymore.
It is a weird thing though if you're an athlete, and also this is a recent topic with the Summer Olympics, because the women's Summer Olympics USA kit or whatever it is
for what sport?
For track and field, and
is it
I
cut
guess
scantily?
Yeah. And then it's getting a lot of heat on social media.
There was a minute during the pandemic where there were these memes about the Australian rowing team that basically they were wearing pornographic outfits, right? Come on, that's not real.
So they're athletes, and they all have good bodies, but then the marketing of it and the ratings, because it all goes back to yes, the Olympics are a worldwide athletic competition between countries, and we should celebrate it because it's the country's best athletes, blah blah blah. But the bottom line is they need the marketing money from the television, right?
Right.
And if they need people to watch it, and getting some of these athletes to wear these uniforms that are revealing will get better ratings, and they all know it, and every businessman knows it, and the TV producers are like, so it skews towards, especially in the women.
Oh, I'm sure.
A little more scantily clad, which probably doesn't really have to do with the athletic.
No.
This uniform doesn't really help them athletically in any way. It just has to be kind of tight and not constricted or whatever.
So the most you can do is suggest it, and then if the women deem it, they're like, we don't want to wear that. Then you just go, oh, it's fine.
So, but
right? That's what you do. That's how you handle it.
With volleyball, the shorts, right? It's been a thing forever, right? Girls volleyball.
Or they're just like I would say swimsuit bottoms. Sometimes it's not even shorts. It's just
beach volleyball. This has been a thing, forever.
Yes.
Yes.
If you're
small.
talking collegiate on a gymnasium floor volleyball, it's a skin tight, like a kit, like you're saying, almost like what you would wear if you were cycling. But if you're playing beach volleyball, it looks like a bikini.
But they're also short. The cycling shorts are like mid-thigh.
They can be, yeah. I wear tinier ones, but that's because I'm tinier.
So you could wear that if you wear the mid-thigh volleyball shorts, you will have the same as far as performance.
I don't know if you will.
What would tiny shorts and mid-thigh is the same performance?
Personally, I would argue against what you're saying because personally, when I ride, even when I cycle, I prefer smaller shorts because I feel like my legs move better and they're cooler. Like I do like tiny or I wear padded. They're I forget the name of the company, but they're padded bicycle shorts. But I don't have the ones that go right above my knee. Mine are a little higher. I have like high,
but they're still mid thigh at the longest.
Kind of, I guess.
But what I'm saying is even all cycling shorts, they're longer. So why are the volleyball shorts tiny? Make your ass look good shorts.
Yeah.
Because it's for marketing, right? For volleyball, and all the
what do
the
guys
girls
wear?
agree.
Thing? I don't even know what volleyball guys. I don't see volleyball guys.
No,
really.
longer shorts, gym shorts.
I don't see it. Anyway.
But the Shane Gillis joke is the special knee or Special Olympics volleyball team doesn't wear their shorts.
Right.
So
right. They should though. They should be allowed.
I'm sure they are, but I think it's inappropriate across the board.
Let's go into this one. Good morning, show. A few weeks ago on a Friday Free Show, Dan briefly mentioned, or do we have time for that? We may not have time for this one.
Well, read it.
All right. Dan briefly mentioned that Andrea got mad at Maisie for not unplugging the toaster when she was done with it. Tom looked puzzled and briefly questioned why she needed to unplug it to begin with, but the conversation kept moving forward before it was addressed. I feel like this is a topic we need to revisit. My wife also wants every countertop appliance unplugged when not in use, and I can't stand it. The amount of times that I've been asked to make toast only to realize the toaster wasn't plugged in is insurmountable. She'll often unplug the air fryer when it's not being used, and every time I have to plug it back in and wait for it to do its little startup routine. I've quit using our electric can opener and reverted back to a manual because I got sick of plugging it back up. I asked her about this, and she said it was to prevent fires starting. I told her the likelihood of that happening was something like the can opener is slim to none, but she won't listen to me. I asked her, if the appliance has a clock on it that would reset, would you still unplug it? And she said no, which makes even less sense to me. All I want is for my toaster to be ready for me when I need to use it and not wonder what life would be like without a wasted 90 seconds staring at cold bread before realizing I needed to plug the damn thing in. Thanks again, Ryan.
So is that why you
unplug it? I was told by my wife, and I didn't question it at the time because it's like one of those fights. It's like pick your battles. It's like
I've never heard of this.
I was told that any electric appliance that you have plugged in that isn't being used is still drawing some amount of current, and that you should just get in the practice of unplugging things that you're not using to be thrifty.
Okay.
Look, I'm just giving you the reality. I'm giving you reality. Whether or not you choose to accept it is on you. I'm just giving you what I was told by Andrea. Now, I'm unlike you. I didn't hear that and immediately think I needed to dig my heels in and fight for my right of science or what. I didn't care. I was just like, that's fine. I'll just unplug it.
Yeah, but you could be wasting your life.
I don't believe that. I don't believe it's not wasting my life. I just don't. I don't believe.
Well, I'm saying that unplugging, plugging back in. What the hell are you doing?
I just don't. I don't believe that.
ask ChatGPT if appliances actually
Where's my phone?
pull a current, because that doesn't seem right.
Okay.
And
we'll ask it.
I've never even heard of this.
Should you unplug all appliances when they're not in use to not draw current or to not waste electricity?
I could already answer. This is not a thing. There's no way.
Well, you always answer everything.
Yes, unplugging appliances when they're not in use can help reduce electricity usage and prevent vampire power draw. This is when appliances and electronics use energy even when they're turned off but still plugged in. Doing this can not only save energy but also reduce your electricity bill and decrease the risk of fire hazards. It's particularly effective for chargers, entertainment systems, and kitchen appliances.
Well, there you go.
What?
So my wife is right. There you go. You're going to believe that now because ChatGPT told
Well,
you.
I
Like,
believe the
yeah.
robot.
I didn't believe
I
it.
only
Look,
believe robots. Humans
I
are
didn't believe
flawed.
it. I honestly didn't believe it.
But how much could it be? What do you
Well,
say?
that's what I said.
You
it
know,
can't be much.
15 cents.
And it has a cool name, Vampire Power Draw.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
There's no way I'm unplugging my appliances every single time. Well,
we
gotta go.
also, for our appliances, and we do got to go, but like mine, you're going to think I'm really poor. I unplug my toaster, pick it up, let it cool, and then put it under the cabinet.
No! Bye-bye.
That's funny. That is what I have to do. Oh,
Yeah.
All right. What are we doing now?
Now it's just Tuesday voicemail.
And then we'll finish it after lunch, right?
This kind of ties into it because I want to find a way to disable the ability to lock my truck. And I want to.
Oh yeah, you can totally do that. You just need we need to buy you one of those machines that we plug in and plug it into your phone. Yeah, we can do that.
Into my phone?
Yeah, you need just like what do they call it? An OB11 or like they make them for Volkswagen. Like you just need the Chevrolet version of whatever a VAGCOM would be. You need a Chevy. And you'll pull that little lever down underneath here, and you'll plug the computer diagnostic in, and you'll fucking go in there and change the codes.
Oh, okay, inside the.
Yeah.
Okay.
I bet you can. Or maybe not. I don't know. OBD2. Thank you, DeBerry Joe. I fuck up everything. All right, let me keep that. Would you like to start?
Oh, I got an idea. All right.
Oh, somebody says they can come over here. I have a Bluetooth OBD reader you can borrow. Yeah, we could do that today.
Okay, I got a better idea.
Okay. You want to start?
Yeah.
And this is for the 7th? Beginning or 3 or?
This is beginning, yeah.
Okay.
Tuesday beginning.
Here we go. And 3, 2.
Welcome to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan.
Our cruise, this is the last month to book our cruise that's leaving in September. It's the Tom and Dan Cruise,
Yes.
2024.com.
I'm excited about it, man.
You can find out all the information. I know I'm bringing my kids. Daniel's bringing Maisie.
Haven't decided yet.
Some of my friends
I'm
from
on
Miami.
the fence with Maisie. I may leave her here.
Oh, okay.
So I can get my freak on. No, she's coming. Maisie is coming. She loves cruising.
Yeah.
She's like her mom. And if you want to bring your kids or your family, we get crazy, but we also do family stuff. You can pick and choose what you want to do.
Well, yeah, and because here's the thing: when you show up, the first day you'll get your T-shirt, your gift bag, and your lanyard, which gives you the itinerary of where our events are. We're doing a live podcast. We're doing something special after the live podcast. We're doing a mediocre idol, which is a karaoke.
It's so fun.
We're doing a beach party, blah, blah, blah. So you get those, and it'll show you, tell you where to show up and what time. But the rest of the time is yours. So it's like with Crystal and the boys, they're going to be out on the ship because the ship is gigantic.
Yeah,
It has a million things to
It's
do.
a brand new MSC Seashore. The thing is brand new.
And say if you're a listener and you bring your wife and kids can have fun on the cruise, and then you can go to the parties and the individual events, because they're only a couple hour blocks, each day. We have one basically major event each day, and the rest of the time is yours to enjoy on this gigantic cruise ship.
We keep it open so you can do a little bit of us, a little bit of everything else, because there's a lot on the boat that you're going to want to do, and then sometimes we're just going to organically all end up in the casino. I mean, you'll see. But come along, and if you enjoyed the luau that we did, if you're a BDM and you want that vibe, it's very similar vibe on the cruises.
And I know people sometimes bring, this happened years ago, where people would bring their friends and get their friends to book that didn't even know the show because the deal was so good.
Yeah.
Because you get the unlimited drink package and the free Wi-Fi package, and because we book in bulk way prior, and Tony Palmiotti's so good at this, that we get such a good deal that the deal is better than if you went online and booked it yourself. Like, you're not going to get the unlimited drink package without paying a bunch of more money.
No.
So Inside Cabin started at $1,000, unlimited free drinks the entire weekend.
And once we
stops,
get on the boat, Tony pulls strings, and then we get all this weird free stuff on the boat, because that's just he goes on a million cruises a year. So we just love to see you there. And again, if you enjoyed the luau, this is similar vibes, and it's the Tom and Dan Cruise, TomandDanCruise2024.com.
Like, even if you just went over to, let's say, a resort here in near the parks, right?
Yeah.
You go to,
oh man, it's expensive.
You
right
go to a
now.
resort for one night, right? And then you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner there. And then not even the parks, but even do something like locally. Like,
am I gonna have five $10 beers?
It's more than $1,000.
Oh,
just one night at a resort, and you get the entire cruise with all the food,
on a brand
all
new
the
boat.
drinks, brand new boat, 2 stops in the Caribbean. It's a pretty good deal.
And a private island. Do you want to do voicemails, emails? Where you want to go?
Well, I want to ask you about disabling the locks on my truck.
Oh,
and
please.
Then, well, okay, and this is my fault, and I know I've got my wallet stolen from people checking the door handles.
Yeah.
And this all,
Why did
everybody
this
knows
come
it.
up again?
Well, because every morning, so Crystal is a door locker, right? As you know, so
you sound like, when you're saying that, you sound like a racist.
she goes around
Goddamn door locker.
at the end of every night because she's paranoid. She locks all the doors in the house.
I don't think you have to be labeled paranoid. I lock all of my doors.
Hey,
I mean, not because of paranoia, but just, it's a nice thing to, at the end of the night,
well,
just,
you're doing it because you're paranoid someone's going to come in,
No,
right?
I'm just doing it because it's I do the...
You're doing it for no reason?
Some would say that. No, I do things the proper way. I don't always just have to have some sort of logical reason to shut my doors. It's never been a safer time to keep it open, so let's test that by leaving... No, I do things the proper way. Then why have locks? Then you should remove all the locks on your house. No locks on the house.
Well, when we leave on vacation for a week,
don't even lock it. No, leave it all.
I'm
you
fine
don't even
with
need locks.
locking
You don't
because
need locks at all.
no one's there.
I'm just going to start throwing it right back at you. No locks at all. None at all. Leave you know what? Take
that's
the doors
fine.
off.
I'll live like that.
Just take the doors off. You don't even need doors. Just like cats. Anybody just come and go.
As I get older, I'm more set in my ways, and I'm more into the math, and I'll only live my life by statistics, and no one's breaking into my house. Statistically, it's not going to happen. Anyway, but I find with my wife's rational fear of getting murdered.
And I'm sure she's fine with hearing about the math.
I only tell you. This is my only place to talk.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I sit here quiet. My wife's doing all these things.
This is your safe space.
She's doing voodoo. She's scared. She's like, I'm scared that this is, something's going to happen. We're going to get killed. They're going to rob us. They stole my shoes.
Voodoo.
She tells me, she's like, someone stole something. I'm like, oh my God. I said, I don't even talk. I just sit there.
I had no idea it was a breaking
point.
I didn't know that. I didn't know.
Okay.
This is your safe
I can't
space.
even
You're
tell.
allowed. You're allowed.
I'm like, I wish I lived with a robot. Me and the robot. As long as it has a mouth.
I can ask it.
Anyway.
Let's say. Should I lock my doors at night? I mean, I've been told it's safer now than it's ever been, and I'm actually thinking of removing all locks and doors and just living a simple life.
It sounds like you're considering a pretty radical change. While it's true that overall crime rates have decreased in many places, the decision to remove all locks and doors would be quite unconventional and could potentially expose you to unnecessary risks. Locks serve as a basic security measure to protect against intruders and ensure personal safety. If you're thinking about simplifying your life, there might be less extreme ways to do it, while still maintaining a good level of security. What's motivating you to consider such a change?
Oh, I don't want to tell you my life story, mother effer.
You know, robot, you should be with me. I'm more robot than you. So
They did make it in our own image, like God, so.
But then I thought of something, and I don't know why they don't have this. And if they do have it, I want to buy it. All right. So timers for your car lock. So this is the problem. So
Okay, tell me the problem, and then we'll try to fix it, because
every
it
morning,
does sound like you're being a little radical.
every single morning, almost, I need something because I've been leaving a lot of my workout equipment in my truck
Okay.
and whatever.
Yeah.
And
You got a bag, you got shoes, you got socks, you got water bottle. What do you got?
Or I'll bring I put my workout stuff in my truck for the day.
Yeah, you have a
because I
little
to charge.
bag.
And so I go out in the morning because I do the morning routine. I cook the boys breakfast, then I make their lunch. And so in the midst of that, I go out to my truck. And every time I go out there, I go to open it. And,
And there's a
locked.
raccoon sitting in it. And he's looking at you, and he's holding a tiny bag of Doritos.
And it's locked. And I know all this takes is for me to remember to unlock it before I go to, because my keys are in the shoe cabinet or whatever.
Do you have the kind of lock where if you touch it and you have your keys on you, it unlocks a Cassie
No,
system?
I don't have a fob. Yeah.
You don't have a fob?
Yeah.
What are you, living in 98? 1998?
I have to press the
Oh
unlock
my
button.
God, you have to use your thumbs to
Yeah.
unlock? Oh my
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
well, I didn't even know we were dealing with this.
Crystal's got a fob, but it wouldn't matter anyway because I'd have to remember to bring the fob, is attached to my
dealing
keys.
with the
and
dark ages.
So and then every time I go to open my truck, I get mad. I get an immediate jolt of anger.
Yeah, because you're wasting your life.
Yeah, but I'm mad at myself first for not remembering this and continuing to do the same thing every single day.
Okay.
And it reminds me of how dumb I am. And
Well,
then
is it dumb, or you're not breaking you're just stuck in a routine? I
Yeah.
don't necessarily equate that to you being dumb.
but it's the same routine that I get mad at it. Why don't I start a new routine and remember to unlock the door instead of doing the same thing?
But you'd have to write like a Post-it note or set an alarm, right? You'd have to do.
Yeah. So instead of any of this, why don't they have like the ability to set a timer where my doors lock, let's say at midnight, right? That's the witching
Oh, we have
hour,
that here.
right?
We have that here at the studio.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if
yeah.
you leave the studio, because I don't trust you so much to lock things,
Yeah.
if you leave the studio here and you don't lock up, which it hasn't happened that many times, but if it does, the studio
There's
will
been times I
message
leave it.
me,
Yeah.
and it will tell me, you didn't lock it up at midnight. I locked it for you, Dan.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
all
yeah,
good
so-
to go. Is that what you want?
So I want that in my car or truck where it locks the doors, and then at 6 a.m.
The chat room says take the doors off the truck.
Well, I just need no
Like
locks.
a Jeep.
Or at 6
You
a.m.
need
I
a
lock
Jeep.
it.
You need a Jeep with no doors.
6 a.m. it unlocks because when the
You're
biggest
gonna
thing
go out there at 5:58. It's not gonna be. You have to wait out there and smoke a cigarette.
the biggest thing that drives me crazy is like Crystal will lock the door during the middle of the day, and
Lock what door?
our house doors. Like she'll walk out of the house and then I'll be outside and then she'll go back in through the front door and lock the door
What's
behind
a
her.
habit, man?
But I'm
It's
like,
it's what normal people do. I hate to break it to you, but it's what I do. It's what Andrea does.
so I go in to get into the house and then I'm like, I'm like, what? It's daylight outside. No one's gonna hurt you. No one's like, it's just me. It's your husband trying to get his own house. Oh,
Okay,
and-
I can kind of understand it, but
yeah.
I
That's great. Every time I get mad,
scream like
and I'm
Arnold.
like, "What are we doing? Why?" And then she's like, she's like, "I locked the doors," and I'm like, "But for what reason?" And then she reminds me of the one time that
well,
in
you have
Heroin
been
Alley.
burglared. You've been burglared.
Yeah, but I was like, we lived in Heroin Alley, and it was just some kids rummaging through our house
she's
looking for stuff.
obviously still scarred by that.
And they stole her ring. That
Yeah.
was like, it was my.
Stole my ring. That came from Zales.
No, it was a family heirloom that was from my dad. Gave it to my mom.
Oh,
it was,
my God.
It was probably like a $20,000
Oh,
ring, like
my
an emerald
God.
and diamond ring.
I'd pump it up
that-
too if it were stolen.
And,
that's what I do. I was like that was like a $100,000 one of a kind.
No, well, it's not more about the money, but it was more about like the.
I'm just messing with
sentimental.
you.
Anyway.
I can't take anything serious.
It's these one things happen in my life, and then they get brought up. That will be brought up until I'm 80 years old, and I'll be like, that happened 50 years ago.
Well, you don't want to change, and she doesn't want to change, right? So she's going to stay locking the doors. And
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
gonna
So I wanna
resisting
disable the
this, so
lock.
you wanted to say, okay,
Or
hold on.
Yes,
I'm not here to
yes.
judge you.
Yeah. I'm
not
never
here
going
to
to change
judge you.
her.
Yeah,
She's
I'm not here to change either of you. How do I fix your
a
problem?
stone crow.
That's not nice.
No, I'm just saying.
That is not nice.
There is no change in her.
That's
I
not
realize
nice.
that. I don't even argue my points. I don't argue
Have you
math.
noticed you've been a little more dig your heels in lately, though, on Logic? You have.
Yeah, but
You've been a little more dig your heels in.
But it's only on the show. I
Okay.
can't do it in my
All
life.
right, well, you're safe here. I'm not here to judge you.
I
and
know.
And I have to owe you an
wanna
apology.
tell
I owe you
my
an apology. From the beginning of the show, about 9 minutes ago,
Yeah.
I got angry at your logic, and I apologize. This is your safe space. This is a place that you can come and tell your friend without judgment, and I'll help you solve the problem.
That's all I want.
So you just want to disable the locks on your car.
Yeah, either that
Which
or
is a
timer.
completely rational thing for anyone to ask.
Because then the Stone Crow will get real mad
Yeah.
if she finds out to disable
Does
the locks.
she know you're referring to as Stone Crow?
No.
Okay.
She don't listen to this.
All right, that's good. That's step one.
I'm only talking to
This is
you
great.
and Twitch.
All right.
And
That's
some
fair.
old people still listen to the radio and the podcast.
Some of the lifers.
A lot of podcasters, though.
Tons of podcasts.
It's majority the podcast.
They are.
But
Majority.
anyway,
Okay.
so-
So we want to disable. It can never be locked? Because here would be my problem.
No.
What
because-
if you're in the car and one of the boys accidentally touches it? Because I'm not going to say they're going to lock it. I don't think they would. But let's just say like an elbow, something, and locks it. By disabling it, I almost cursed.
Or you can't unlock it. Yeah.
Right.
Well, why isn't there a timer where you just set a
we're back to
timer?
the timer.
like 12 midnight until
It
6
sounds
a.m.
It sounds like something if someone with a DUI would have. Right? Like
But
your
they
car
installed-
unlocks at 6 so you can drive to work, and then it locks back down again while you're at work so you can't drive drunk to Wing House.
The problem is, well, no, because as long as it unlocks at 6 a.m., then my whole life has changed. Because every morning I go up, my door's unlocked, but at night, where Crystal thinks the boogeyman are out,
I got it.
and she knows it's locked, I can just tell her this and disable the locks.
Why don't you put how many fobs do you have? Do you have 2 fobs? Put one fob, hide a fob in the car.
No, but it won't work because it's the push button. It doesn't. I don't
No.
have.
Remember the old thing? My dad was the king of these. On every car, every boat we had, there's like a little black.
Oh, hide a key.
Yeah, you need a hide a key with their fob in it.
Because that.
Or we'll glue your fob under the bumper so she'll lock it. You walk out, just tap the button under your. That's what you need. You need a cloned remote for your car. You know, there's little dolphins you can buy that clone RF.
Okay,
We need one of those.
Or just go and push behind the thing and just
we'll
unlocks my car. Yeah.
We'll clone your car's fob mechanism, whatever
Yeah.
frequency that is. We'll put it on that little flipper. It's called a flipper. I can always call it the dolphin. We'll buy one of those dolphins and we'll glue it under your.
Yeah. So I just go in there and hit the button.
So if you walk out there and it's locked, you just tap the button, boom,
All right.
unlock, problem solved.
All right.
There
so
you go.
it needs to be something like that.
Yeah, we can do
Anyway, all right. Let's do some voicemail.
that. Yeah, I'm really sorry about
fine.
coming down on you earlier.
That's fine.
You know, it's just. Oh, you were talking about the cruise. Have we done this one? This might be the guy that was Baker acted.
Hey, Tom, Dan, and Sam. I was catching up on some of your podcasts from a couple days ago, and you guys had the historian on, and he sounded a little down. I was wondering why you guys didn't offer, take the Tom and Dan cruise, 2024.
Put him on the cruise, the historian?
What, like we pay for it?
I mean, we don't just, we don't have unlimited. We can't, it's not like we.
Yeah,
I don't
let's
think-
get everybody a cruise,
Yeah.
like Oprah Winfrey.
I don't know if people understand what we do here or they ever have. You ever think that?
Maybe or suggest to him he comes on the cruise. Like we'd love for the historian
Yeah,
to buy
I
a
mean,
cruise and
oh my
come on
God.
the cruise with us.
I don't know if he has a ton of money. In fact, I think in some of his other or
No, remember
voicemails-
he said he was like young and then he had a good job and he didn't know what else he should do. He's already on track. Like
come
he's
on the
making
cruise.
the right
Yeah,
decisions.
come on the cruise.
Yeah, you'll make wrong decisions on that.
You'll meet some people.
Yeah. You could
Yeah.
bang a BDM's
Yeah,
wife while he
absolutely.
records it with
Or,
a cell phone.
I mean, at the very least, you'll be inappropriately touching her while he stands in the corner.
Yeah. You could go to the Bahamas and do cocaine and fall out into an alley
Yeah.
and have other BDMs drag you back. That's happened.
Yeah, that's happened.
With
You
sponsors.
could go number 2 in the alley and be so drunk that you fall back in it and pass out in your own number 2.
Yeah.
That was a monsters quiz. I would point that out.
Yeah.
Still one of my favorite stories of all time.
They
though.
get kicked off the boat
Yeah,
in the Virgin
he
Islands.
got banned for life from, I believe, Norwegian. How good are you? Because I feel like your sons are light years ahead of my daughter on being cool, on slang terms, on like Riz, for instance. You brought that up on the last Friday Free Show.
Yeah.
You were like, "What's Riz?" Like that does not. Those are not.
Maisie does know Riz.
I think she knows what it is, but she's like, that's not. That would be a little elevated for her. She's not quite into like full-blown disgusting slang land.
Okay, no,
You know,
yeah.
like she's still like
no Giat, no Riz.
no, really, no Giat. Maybe a little Riz, but like no, she's not into that. So here's one, and I've heard this other term, and I think it's the dumbest of all of them.
Hey, you guys. I am going to pull a dumb old man. I found out about a trend that kids like. It's a YouTube channel, and this is 100% what our parents used to say about our music is crap and all that, but I have watched like 2 or 3 of these videos, and I think that our society is doomed if this is what children find entertaining. This YouTube channel is, and you might have to bleep this, and the series of videos is called Skibbity Toilet, and it has billions of views. Watch an episode or two.
Yeah.
It is utter nonsense garbage.
Yes, it's come up on my
But
algorithm.
it's got
Skibbity toilet.
Skibbity toilet.
What
billions
is
of
it?
views over the whole series. We're doomed.
The whole chat room knows. The whole chat room is exploding. They're like, oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Skibbity toilet.
Yeah, see,
Like,
they like it.
Yeah, no, do they like it, or do they feel cool because they know what it is? Like, look at them. They're all animals. They're like, oh yeah, they
I don't
finally
know.
found it. They're going to talk about Skibbity toilet. I almost feel like
Hold on,
because
show me Skibbity toilet.
I don't even know. I've heard Skibbity, and I heard that Skibbity was like a term. This is another kid was explaining Skibbity to me, meaning like you're really fun or funny. That's what
Okay.
Skibbity means. I don't know if that's true.
Skibbity toilet. Okay.
Skibbity
And by the way,
toilet.
what was the website that he was talking about in radio
It's
friendly terms?
F word boom.
Okay.
But I just didn't want to do the edit
Yeah,
later,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
because it. All right, so here is. I don't even know if I can play this. Here's Skibbity
What the
toilet.
heck is going on you? What the heck is going on?
All right. So,
there you go. It's
so I
a-
was just so the camera pans in, like walks into the bathroom, and then
I'm laughing
points at the toilet, and then a CGI head of a guy
A bad one too.
pops out of the toilet, and then you
Yeah.
heard the audio. That's
Yeah,
where
yeah.
he,
He's
and then he
just singing.
flies out, and that's it.
Yeah, and then it
Now-
does that for like another.
Now, before people like, oh, our society's doomed. Do you remember Tom Green? Like in the 90s, we used to watch Tom Green as kids and laugh, and I'm sure our parents looked at it exactly like this. It was nonsense. My bum was on a moose. He was ridiculous. Like Tom Green did
Yeah.
some sort of like pranks, which is like universal. Everybody understands the pranking your dad and pranking your mom and the pranks, but some of it was just absurdity. Is like him singing the bum song is
Yeah.
stupid. Is as stupid as
So,
Skibbity toilet.
the
And we
bum-
like that.
Yeah, the bum here is the bum is the Skibbity.
Yeah, it's just absurdity,
Yeah.
nonsense.
Yeah, I love absurdity. You know, I love nonsense stuff, but
and
I don't think this hits the mark for me. But I'm not necessarily anti this.
Well, yeah, because there is always, and there always has been, I think, absurdity in entertainment to the point where it's like we joked around about it when we did Trombone Tease.
Right,
Where it's just
right.
like we came up with the most absurd idea.
Right, you're being a little too harsh. Not you. I mean this guy.
Yeah.
I think
well,
you
yeah,
are.
it is
you are.
stupid. And it's stupid that it's that popular.
But we know it's stupid.
But people are laughing at it, and and no one's thinking like, "Oh, this is brilliant."
No,
they're just
no,
like,
no.
stupid, and this throwaway.
Yeah.
Like me and Daniel were talking about, like social media is all throwaway content for the most part.
It can be. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
you put it out there, and then someone looks at it, and then they never look at it again. You know, and it's like, old school media or whatever. We're stuck in like either print and things. So like, you put effort into it, you put it out, and then it lives forever out there, and people can always go back and reference it. social media, I think the new age of social media, like no one's looking at it like that. They're like, this is throwaway garbage. Then you're going to continue to produce over and over.
We approach what they're
nothing
doing
special about
and
it.
what they've produced with the same level of value that we would put on something that we've produced, and they're not doing that. So the exchange of currencies in our minds is wrong. You're not. The emphasis for kids or younger people just isn't that high.
In fact, it's probably to them, they're like, why spend so much time on it? It's
Right.
We're going to do something that, in 6 hours from now, and no one's going to ever look back at this. It's just you're throwing it out there. And that, so it would be pointless to spend a bunch of time writing it and producing it. It's just to throw out nonsense.
Oh my God, we've got a lot. Apparently, the chat room is like almost all skibbity toilets. Like everybody in there's like, my kid sings it, my toddler's obsessed with it.
Is it a bunch of different toilets?
There are, according to SJ, who I know he works in that area, he says that there are over 500 different skibbity toilet videos on YouTube.
Ask AI what's up with skibbity.
Okay. That's actually a decent idea. Hold on here. Let's see. Hey, me and my business partner are having a hard time understanding why young people today think skibbity toilet is funny. What do you think of skibbity toilet? And can you explain why it's so popular?
I like how we're asking opinions to a robot. This is a new, it's shocking to me every time. Like you're asking AI its opinion on something, why some art is funny.
Let's see if it figures it out.
Instead of like just a factual question. It was crazy.
It's not playing.
Oh,
I don't think I can get a connection, but anyway.
There are all these skibbity toilet videos. There's just 100, and then it's the same. Is it made by the same people, or
it is and it isn't? I mean, you know how these things work. You got one guy that'll originally make it, and it'll catch on, and then other people will start making it, and then somebody else will become more popular than the original guy, and then that guy will be, and then it just flutters on out. And
should we make a skibbity toilet video? Is it like
not.
Owling or planking?
No, I'd rather not.
What do you mean you'd rather? This is what it is.
But I think they're less thans. Like owling, to me, because of the way the internet was being digested and we were moving slower, had like the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge had some weight. But skibbity toilet is like 3 seconds of internet time, whereas the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, that's a 4-minute burner.
Remember Harlem Shake?
Yeah,
we did that.
That's a 3.5, 4-minute
with Caesar.
burner. Yeah,
Caesar was the star of that.
Yeah, like I'm just telling you that like everything's moving faster now.
So we need to do a skibbity toilet now?
No, we already missed it.
We
missed the toilet.
Oh, no, Melissa, if you're listening to this, put out a skibbity toilet. We need to get out there.
Well, what do you want to, like me? I'll go in there and, like, you can film me.
No,
I'll put my head, I'll be like, I'll make, like, skibbity toilet.
No, I go into the bathroom, and then I look at the toilet, and then Melissa will do CGI your head, and then it'll do this.
Because CGI is so easy. We'll just have Melissa whip up a CGI head of mine, and then place it like Industrial Light and Magic into a toilet.
She knows how to do that. I just cut out your head, and then it's like
$17 a second for that. And next thing you know.
And then, and you have to do the same sound every time? Is that the thing, right? Like the Harlem Shake?
I mean, we'll just steal the skibbity toilet music and just play it in the background.
Yeah. That's what we need to do.
I don't want to do this. I don't want my daughter to be like, pay for your shoes, skibbity toilet. I don't.
No, it's not going to make us any money, but it just puts us out there, and now we have a skibbity toilet video.
Why is this so important to you? So you can brag to your sons.
No,
Daddy's got a skibbity toilet video, too.
This is what you need to remain relevant.
I don't know,
or next thing you know, I'm Dom. Making I'm like, look at that.
Dom Imus.
Whatever that dumb old man. How's that happen?
Let's try this one. It kind of ties in.
Hello, Tom and Dan. It's Canadian Josh. I have a high thought / question, so let's flesh this out. How old is your oldest listener? And I don't mean the oldest person to have ever heard you guys. I mean listens on a regular basis, fairly regular basis, downloads, maybe goes to events, buys some merch. I'm 48, so I guess that probably puts me in the upper age demographic for your listeners. You probably have a fair number in their 50s who listen, more than 10, less than 20. Is there anybody in their 60s? Maybe a couple in their 60s who listen to you guys?
Oh, more
Zero
than that.
chance anybody in their 70s listens to you guys.
Yeah, there's
Anyway, let's
some.
flesh it out. I'll hang up and listen. Love you guys. BDM for life.
I don't know. I would imagine though that Tom's gonna he's gonna probably skew a little older than I would, and I would probably skew a little younger than Tom would, because we have different perceptions of who's listening.
So I remember this post back in 2020. I was looking
Feels
for
like just yesterday.
I was looking for the oldest BDM, and then Sam put up a post November 2nd of 2020 on the BDM page. Who is the oldest BDM and willing to chat with us on the show? And there's like a ton of comments. But I remember looking through this back then, and there were definitely some 70s, even back then.
We have a 70 in the chat room, not a person, but we have other person.
Well, think about it. Like Daniel started terrestrial radio in the mid 90s,
95, 96,
and then
95.
I started interning in radio in 2003, right? And
It's
so
been a long time.
we both did it for a decade, and then through that time, when terrestrial radio was the only way to listen to talk radio, especially in Central Florida, there was an insane amount of listeners.
It's all you had.
And then a lot of those listeners, just followed us over to our own thing. And those listeners were already in their 50s, 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So some of them
Well,
stayed
I
on.
think some of them aren't listening anymore. I mean,
Of
I
course.
think they move on.
Yeah,
you know?
but then there's some that are. And
I always think most people listening are my age.
and especially terrestrial radio, because ACT is still on terrestrial radio.
Right.
And we've got some for sure 85 to, older than that listeners that just listen to real radio all day and have
Yeah.
been doing it for 30 years.
I don't know if they know who we are, though.
Yeah,
don't
because
know.
they listen to it. They listen to it all day. They have it on in their workshop or whatever.
But I
and
think
so,
your connection falls apart.
yeah,
I think you're like, I have it on the background. I
No,
don't really know what they're talking about.
They know Danny Denny and Drunk at the Bear.
but they get it a little wrong.
They,
They call me Dennis and the Venison or something.
But
And they'd still call you Drunk at the Bear. You're right about that.
but they've been listening to you for 25, 30 years. You know, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they and like since 2000 was when I started interning in the radio. That's 20 years ago. So they just know our personalities, and they're in their 80s now. Or
it's
I
hard
bet
to-
there's some in their 90s. For
I don't
sure.
know. I mean, if you could find one, I don't believe that, but if you can find one, I
Because
mean,
30 years ago, there were people listening to real radio, and
I think they move on. I think they grow out of it. Like, I don't think I don't think we'd be a fun listen for 90-year-olds.
they wouldn't understand a lot, but they know us from 20 years ago.
They do, but I don't know if I agree with that. I'd believe it if I see it. I'd believe it if I see it, but I don't.
It's harder to find, but
Maybe they're out there. I'd like to think they're out there.
I specifically
I'm positive about stuff.
have met people that back when I used to go to my grandfather's house in St. Cloud a lot.
Yeah.
All his neighbors were old, like everybody, like the old school St. Cloud, right? All those people in like the Catfish restaurant and the coffee cup and
yeah.
stuff. And his dad listened to real radio. That's how he listened. He was my age, and his dad was, my nearly my grandfather's age. You know what I'm saying? Like they all listened. Now you're right; they probably do fall off, but if they still a lot of these people have radio on in their workshop and they listen all day long, and it just plays in the background. And for sure, they at least listen. Maybe they've listened to our show enough to understand it, and they laugh at it. Jokes are pretty universal.
Sometimes I get people that are old that'll be like, I listened to you a lot when you was on the regular show, but now listen, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I get some of those
Yeah,
guys,
yeah. Well, because we're but I'm 42, Daniel's 47.
And then they'll
so
be like, God, man, I saw you in
We're
the
not young
Jimmy
anymore.
Lawrence Arena. You're playing bass with Bubba Man. And they're telling me something, and it was easier for them. I think they almost do the same thing with like that people do with bands, right? Like they listen to it then. They don't really still follow up with it now.
Yeah,
But they used to listen to it. So they'll say they listen, but they don't really listen, if that makes sense.
I think we have more listeners in our 50s than we do in our 20s.
Yeah, I think I'd probably agree with
because
that.
the way young people consume entertainment now, it's it's so all over the place. I mean, you're probably primarily just scrolling reels, or videos.
I think I'd agree with that.
Um,
Yeah, we probably have more 50-year-olds, but I mean, I don't know, late
Because
20s,
you can
we
relate
might
to-
have a lot.
you can relate to more of what we're talking about.
Sure,
than
with
if you're,
kids and yeah.
But although we see him and we talk to him every once in a while online or whatever, we do have some like younger, listeners in their like 18, 19, something.
Oh, right. Yeah,
And
we do.
Those are the anomaly to me, almost as weird as an 80-year-old is an 18-year-old, because I'm like,
Yeah.
man, it's so weird that you listen to us because
Yeah,
like,
what
your
are you
life
doing
is so
here?
different.
You should be watching Skibbity Toilet.
Like the 80-year-old's life is closer to ours than the 18-year-old's.
Like the chat room said, do you think there are any 90-year-olds loading up Skibbity Toilet?
No, that they don't even
Yeah, probably scare them a little bit.
Yeah.
Might be terrifying.
Although we're going to hopefully talk to him soon, Andrea's grandfather is
Yeah.
101.
He's awesome.
Still uses iPhone.
Oh, yeah.
Still drives around,
Still
like
doing his thing, marching around in the woods, going for hikes.
We're working out, interviewing
Yeah.
him, but that's
He's
insane
too
to me.
busy for us to get on the show.
Can operate a smartphone,
Oh,
can
yeah.
email, right? Does he have social media?
No, he's not interested in
Okay.
any of that.
'Cause
But
if
he'll
he
take
did-
photos and send me photos and stuff, yeah.
Because if he did, how many 100-year-olds have social media in the world?
Wow. Probably less than 100, I would imagine.
Yeah. But but you would probably get popular just because it would be a crazy anomaly, right? Like
I don't
Andrew's
know.
grandfather could be a social media star just by
He's
posting.
a cool dude, too. Like, he's a
Yeah.
real Florida guy and a gentle, super kind and loving person. What a good man.
Just from being 101, you in the such small percentile of humans that have ever even
He does
gotten
it
that
right,
old.
though, when you see, like, what he does. Like, he gets up every day grateful, and he goes out there and is in the sunshine, and he does something for his fellow neighbors and Floridians, and he cleans up after himself, and he takes care of the environment, and he
It's
cares for
insane.
people, and he donates money. Like, yeah, he's a good
Yeah.
he's a good dude.
Dude, 53 more years of your life
know.
to get to that point.
Oh,
It
I
is
got a lot
nuts.
of making up to do for all the bad stuff I
Yeah.
did.
No,
All
we're
the
not
bad
going to make
stuff.
it.
No, not like that
101.
guy. Oh my God. Let's try this one right here. It kind of ties in. It's more about the inner workings of the show.
Hey, Tom, Dan. This is Tom BDM in Missouri. And I got a question, and maybe you've answered this in the past, but I didn't hear it, so I was just going to see. Anyway, listening to the Friday Free Show, and I think the reason you play music when you go to break is so that when people are listening live, they have something going on so they don't turn away or they got music. I think that's the reason why you play it. And I know you sometimes you give us the name and the artist and always some interesting music. And I was curious, how come on the podcast you don't leave that whole song in so us people that only listen to the recording can hear that music too? I know you used to do a podcast after the podcast, and I know it was a lot of work for you, Daniel, but I was just curious if there was a reason. Is it just because it makes the show too long, or what? I would love to have that music in to hear it, because I know you leave your commercials in and we hear those, and I was just wondering if you or you just put commercials in instead of the music for us.
Okay, I think I kind of get what you're getting at. It's more really, from my perspective, of like, I would rather you go to Bandcamp. I would rather you go to wherever these artists that we play. And we do work with a publisher and with promotional people to get the rights to play these songs. So we're doing it legally.
Yeah.
If you take somebody's music and then you just put it in your podcast, and there are plenty of people doing it, you're not really supposed to do that. You know?
You're kind of stealing from,
You are. Oh,
from them.
It's not a kinda.
And
It's
then
a
you're-
definite.
You're stealing their MP3 and you're putting it on your own, and you're
Yeah.
like, hey, look at this. You're
Yeah.
presenting it as entertainment.
Yeah.
And it's like you're presenting someone else's entertainment that you paid for you to consume personally,
Yeah.
and now you're putting it out to an audience of thousands.
It's also why I
It's not
buy
right.
the music. Like, even if
Yeah.
if something comes across my desk and we're gonna play it, I'll if I don't have permission, I'll ask permission, or I'll buy. I always buy the music. I go to Bandcamp, and guys, and we're not breaking the bank here. Tom knows I'll spend like $1 on a song.
Yeah,
$5 on an album. I mean, but supporting the artist is the most important thing.
Yeah, and I believe if you upload music to like an Apple podcast, like their bots will probably flag it and be like, "Hey, you're playing a bunch of music on here."
Yeah, we get flagged on YouTube for it, and we even have the rights. Like YouTube doesn't know that we have the rights through the publisher to play these. But I'm not going to fight that fight.
Their software is just flagging like, "Hey," because most people aren't going to go through the proper channels and get the permission to play the music. So we look at it like this. It's funny because I was thinking about this the other day. When we started the podcast, I think it was like spring of 2009, right? Mm-hmm. And Daniel, we didn't really...
It was a Tuesday, and we had it up going on a Thursday, and we did it on a Friday.
And that was a Friday free show and Mediocre Time with Tom and Dan. And when we started that, we didn't really have a plan because it was kind of a throwaway, like, hey, well, let's just start this as a hobby. It's like people are podcasting, Mark Maron and Adam Carolla, and it was a small handful. But we started with, we like the break because we're old radio guys that like the reset of the break. So like doing a segment and then a break, and then you come back and you do a completely new segment. It's kind of like doing 3 different podcasts during one podcast.
Well, we were also, like we'd get, like I'd always get like a 12-pack of beer or something and just start pounding beers. And then you need a time to go to the bathroom. You need to go pee.
Breaks
and then I love music, so I always wanted to present music that I liked because we didn't have a radio show that we had the ability to. I like showing you guys new music.
Yeah, because Daniel always consumed new music. So
I still do.
So I remember we were like, let's do 3 segments, 2 breaks, and we were also cognizant of like
6 songs.
If we ever do commercials, we need a break. It fits better.
Yeah.
But it's like, let's do.
Now
it
what
like
do we do? We can't change. I've tried to change it.
We never change.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been since 2009, the same formula, and it always worked. There was really no need to change, because I do like the 3 different segments.
Well, it's come back around now because now everybody's doing the like blunt start, guerrilla style, and everything. Now people want, like, it's like the pendulum is swinging back where people are like, no, we're okay if you put a little time and effort into it. I'm like, hey, we're back cool again. We were doing podcasting long enough, or when so many people have stopped podcasting that we are like a new podcast now.
Yeah. So to answer this gentleman's question, we don't have putting the whole song in would be essentially stealing from that artist and using their song for our own entertainment, which is not right. But we want to promote them.
We do.
And then if you like, because we do leave a little bit of the song.
Yeah, I leave like maybe 6 seconds in or so.
And then that's easy enough for everybody just to search. Daniel says the name of the song, and it's like,
try to. Search it, I don't always get it right, but here's a couple of things.
Usually do going into the break. Maybe sometimes we forget coming out of it.
True.
But you do a good job of like promoting them. And nowadays, like, okay, you put in the lyrics of the song, Google will find it. You know.
Also, we have a Spotify playlist where I put in every week. I take the songs that we play, and is it 4 songs? Yeah, it's 4 songs. I said 6. I was wrong. I don't even know what we do in our own show.
I thought it was 2.
It's 2 and 2.
Yeah,
it's 4 songs. So I take the 4 songs and I put them in a Spotify playlist called the Tom and Dan Musical Companion. And it's on Spotify. You search Tom and Dan Musical Companion. It'll pop right up. And there are hundreds of songs in there that we've debuted on the show that we have been given the permission from the bands to play. And it's really cool. The coolest thing about that is we'll get the bands will reach out because you guys will play the songs and they actually see themselves pop up on playlists. And they'll write to me occasionally and say, like, hey, what show are we on? That's really cool. And these are bands, I don't know these bands.
Yeah,
You know, I just work with their publisher. And then I'm like, and we're lucky to get some pretty big bands. Like, our publisher has, like, the Black Keys and NoFX and Feist and, like, some other, like, bigger bands. But for the most part, you're going to hear probably a little more indie, a little more punk rock, a little more alternative hip-hop, stuff like that, Not really... You're not going to hear, like, pop radio.
I like that component of the Friday Free Show because it is...
You're stuck with it now.
It's old school, but it's also something that other podcasts don't do for the most part. You know what I'm saying? So I like that aspect of it. And because we've always done it, it's cool that, we just keep on always doing it.
Yeah, shout out to Pirates Press. The chat room was asking who we work with. Pirates Press. Records has been really good. We reach out to them. They always say, yeah, we would love to be able to support. People say, hey, can we request songs? You can't really, because the likelihood of me, like a lot of times, if you know the band and you can get permission, sure, that can happen.
Yeah, and if you are a band yourself,
Sure.
locally or whatever, send us stuff.
Yeah,
and,
but if
you
you
know.
say like, hey, Dan, I was just listening to the new Taylor Swift, the super sad poets dying, whatever, what?
Yeah.
No, it's not going to happen.
Well,
it's not going to.
yeah,
it'll
that's
get
already
flagged
being
like,
promoted
yeah,
too.
it's
So,
going to be flagged like crazy.
I like the aspect of Daniel putting stuff that he's listening to or stuff.
It's going
like
to be weirder stuff.
Yeah.
I like
and
weirder stuff.
and that's the only reason I know about half of music. Or really, the only reason I know about music at all is because of Daniel. Without Daniel, I'd be the stereotypical Florida old man stuck in the same music he listened to when he was in high school and never exposed to anything else.
I'm coming around to that because eventually I am going to run out of gas. I find myself sometimes.
Yeah, everybody runs out of gas.
Yeah.
There's no running from the Reaper.
Tracy, I'm like Tom. No music.
Yeah.
I like that.
Although I'm telling you, like from running with music and like consuming music,
Yeah.
I think it's making me a better person.
Music is good for you, dude.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
arts
yeah.
are good for you, man.
Like you can't just listen to talk all the time, which I was doing, which is kind of not good promotion for the show. But like you can listen to talk 95% of the time, but you put in 5% music.
Music is nice.
All right, we'll be right back.
Nice. That's a good segment.
Yeah.
Cool. And then we'll
we're-
come back and knock out the other one.
Yeah, come back at 1.
Perfect.
So we got Wednesday's little segment, and then next Tuesday 1 and 2.
Yeah, we just got to do an intro for Wednesday. And what's
Perfect.
the date on the other one?
The date on the other one is that one we just recorded is May 7th.
Is that a
It's a Tuesday. Tuesday, May 7th.
Cool. Thank you, dude. All right, guys. Well, I believe we are going to. Oh yeah, I should do a video, Chubby. That's a good idea. We're going to lunch, and we'll be back a little bit after, or a little bit before 1. I'll bring us back. So have a great lunch, guys.